The mission was carried out with stealth and with precision. There were no American casualties. And while Congress is divided after receiving briefings on the extent of the damage, I'm sure that we've derailed Iran's nuclear program, at least temporarily. And there's some valuable deterrent effect for America's adversaries who witnessed last week's exercise. Then, last Tuesday, President Trump left the White House en route to Europe. At the time, there was a question as to whether Israel and Iran would honor a ceasefire. That caused the president to offer the most unfiltered, non-controversial, direct words that I can recall anybody ever saying about the Middle East.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Cut to The Hague, where he arrived for NATO meetings and was able to wrangle an agreement from our allies to more than double their defense spending target from 2% of gross domestic product to 5% by 2035. Also, while at NATO, in a press event wreaked havoc on American markets back in the spring. But now the markets have rebounded and grown. The S&P 500, NASDAQ hit record highs just yesterday. And it's not just the stock market. Inflation, the great economic fear of recent times, seems to be tamed. The rate is now reported at 2.4%, down from a high of 7% just 4 years ago. Meanwhile, blue-collar workers have seen real wage growth of 1.7% in Trump's first 5 months. This is the largest such increase in nearly 3 generations. Notwithstanding its impact on our national debt, there's also hope among some that Trump's big, beautiful bill will give further financial relief to blue-collar workers, as well as create incentives to build more factories in the U.S. Some already see this happening. For instance, General Electric has just announced that it'll invest almost $500 million in moving production of washing machines from China to Kentucky. And then there's the border. Crossings have slowed to a trickle. According to CBP's May update, Southwest border encounters have fallen to about 282 a day, a drop of 93% from last year and the lowest since the early 1960s.
Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. So many good things happening, from the courtroom to the classroom, from international conflict to our local gas station. Trump's victories this week are direct wins for faith, family, and freedom. Hello, everyone. This is Christian Conservative, your trusted source for bold, unfiltered news and analysis on the issues that matter most to Christian conservatives. I'm KJ, along with Michelle Talkington. How are you doing tonight, Michelle?
Hey, KJ. I am great. Hello, all of our friends out there, everyone in the chat, and everyone that comes in and views Christian Conservative. Excited to be here.
Yes, indeed. Oh my gosh, folks, as you all come in, please hit that like button. It really helps to get our video out to as many people as possible, and that is what we want to do. Also, if you haven't done so already, subscribe. From faith and family to politics and culture, we tackle the hard truths and stand firm on biblical principles. So this is where it is, and we're going to get right into it. Michelle, can you believe that was CNN? CNN is basically applauding President Trump's really victorious wins, not just for his administration, but for America, that just happened in the last week. What are your thoughts on the exchange?
I mean, I love the wins, and I said last week that I was excited about Friday. I wanted to. I was just waiting on edge for the Supreme Court rulings. I knew we're going to be handed down. I am a little shocked that they let that air, because CNN and MSNBC and all of those networks, they have been hesitant. They double down. They like to shift a narrative, but it's really hard to create a false narrative of winning. We are winning. Trump is winning. His policies are winning. It's all over the place. It is nothing but wins. I am so excited. Where our nation is going back to being on the right path. Do you see those numbers, the job records?
Yeah, no.
I mean, blue collar jobs, the best that it's been in 3 generations. It's incredible. What a testament. And he's doing exactly what he said he would do. So the fact that they're actually airing that, good on them.
Yeah, I think this. I feel the exact same way. Folks, we see your comments. The chat is going off the chain, and we agree with you guys There is so much to celebrate. We have our first super chat of the night. All right, let's see here. We have, who do we have? I thought I saw a super. Oh, Kung Fu CJ. Yes, to God be the glory, ladies. Let's get it. Thank you so much, Kung Fu CJ. Folks, your super chats go a long way in helping us produce this content. We really appreciate it. It's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation. Thank you. We got Laura Jenkins with the $3 super sticker. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, folks. Yeah, we're going to get all the wins. We're going to hit them all. We see someone talked about his extraordinary historic peace deal between Rwanda and the Congo. We're going to talk about that. So let's just get right into all of this. So I want to start out with what you were talking about, Michelle, the Supreme Court. So it's the Supreme Court really put just down a smackdown against rogue judges this week. Yeah. So 4 years, activist judges have blocked Christian-led policy reforms from pro-life protections to immigration law with nationwide injunctions from one courtroom. But the Supreme Court finally put an end to this abuse of power. No more judicial tyranny. This restores constitutional balance and lets our elected leaders govern. So it was a massive decision, 6-3. The justices ruled that federal judges can't issue blanket nationwide injunctions every time they disagree with a president, especially President Trump. What are your thoughts on that was handed down?
It needed to be if you guys ever have a chance to read the dissenting voices, dissenting votes, it's really, that's what's shocking to me, is that this was not unanimous. Because We're talking about the commander in chief. We're talking about the separation of powers and executive privilege. We're talking about what the president is allowed to do. There should never be a judge that can just come in locally and say no. They should never have been emboldened to do that from the get-go. So this should have been, in my opinion, unanimous.
Yep, but I agree.
That at least we have the 6, and I think these are solid. Almost every judgment that came down this week, for the most part, the ones that were controversial, we were hitting that 6-3, and it matters who we put into those offices. That is why I was terrified that Biden or I can't even remember her name. No, I'm just kidding.
Kamala Harris.
That Harris did not. If they had taken another 4 years, we would have lost what we have right now. I'm almost 100% positive there would have been an opportunity for them to appoint a Supreme Court justice, and that is horrifying. So we'll see what happens. But this was the right decision. It's going to remain the right decision. So, poor lower courts. They didn't get to have their extra 15 minutes, in the spotlight as they're, planning to, I don't know, run off into the sunset or have a career in politics. It's a no.
Absolutely. And Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who President Trump had kind of gotten upset with last year, backed by the court's conservative majority, said that that's not how our system works. Judges don't have the power to shut down a policy nationwide just because they don't like it. That's not law. That's left-wing activism in a robe. And she obliterated Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson in her dissent, calling her out for ignoring 200 years of constitutional precedent and acting like the courts should run the country. She said Jackson wants to stop an imperial executive, but this is what her quoted comments, but is okay with creating an imperial judiciary. So Barrett, she was not having it, and she went in. So again, this means no more liberal judges blocking Trump's nationwide from day one. No more using the courtroom in California or DC to halt its agenda. And yes, Trump's crackdown on birthright citizenship abuse just got a major green light to move forward. Did you catch that? Did you see that part as well?
I did, and I said, well, and it's not even unreasonable to say that if you have to have at least one parent that is a citizen in order to be a citizen, but you have to go back to the history of why birthright citizenship ever existed. It actually had to do with slavery. They don't want to talk about that. They wanted to ensure that Black people that were born here, didn't matter if they had paperwork, didn't matter who, their children were citizens. It was actually for that community, and it just kind of snowballed out of control into this notion that step a toe in the United States, birth a baby, and all of a sudden they get all of the rights and freedoms. We can't do that again overseas. I just don't understand that notion, and why, of course, justices can't get that through their head, and all of these liberals and Marxists. You can't do that in other countries. Very few of them.
And what you're saying, and because again, we know that the Black community predominantly votes Democrat. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are against this birthright citizenship executive order that President Trump handed down. But when you really look into it, and I think the Trump administration, if anyone is listening from the Trump administration, you need to start pushing this out as a very pro-Black executive order. And let me just tell you why. Now, you guys know we are not very, I don't generally like to push things as far as on the racial lines, but this is how you have to talk to the Black community. And this is actually true. What you said, Michelle, the 14th Amendment, what the birthright citizenship was made for enslaved Black people. Mm-hmm. And so when now it has been twisted, and the people who are benefiting from it are illegals. And so it is a smack in the face to the Black community. And so the Trump administration needs to get ahead of this and really paint it that way, push it out. They need to spell it out for these people. This is what you're actually kicking your own self in the face by pushing against this executive order.
Well, you're right. And that's why I say you got to know your history, which I know my history, and it's not hard. Messaging is key, but the proof is there, because where do all of the migrants and illegal aliens get pushed to? Black communities,
right?
The deep blue cities, the ones that are asking for the handouts, and who gets pushed out? Black community members. They're getting pushed out of their own housing, because they're on a wait list as citizens, let's say, and that's a whole nother discussion of government handouts. That's a whole nother ball game that we need to fix. But the fact that if you are there and you've been waiting for services, that all of a sudden an illegal can come in and get in less than 2 or 3 months because they have advocates working on their behalf, and then they have children, lots of them. So let's just be honest, they do have a lot of children. A lot of times, a lot of them come from Catholic backgrounds, and they're pro-family. Interestingly enough, they're pro-family, but they're using services and facilities and means that were meant for naturalized citizens, and the majority end up being in poor communities. You can't on the same breath complain about being poor and needing help and then be cheering on your government under the Biden administration when they allow millions of illegals to come in and take the resources you're begging them for.
Exactly. Exactly. And then they sit around and they try to paint this. And I mean, the left tries to paint a narrative that President Trump he's racist. He's against Black people, when his policies, which are not, they're not racialized at all, but many of his policies have the effect of helping the Black community. When we're talking about securing our border, when we're talking about sending ICE into these areas and getting out these illegal criminal illegals, I should say, these are steps in helping these communities. Because as you mentioned, Michelle, many of these criminal illegals are in the urban areas, which are predominantly Black. Not only that, but the crime situations, when we're talking about not defunding the police, but being a support to the police. This is what helps the Black community. And speaking of that, I got to share this video that we came upon recently. This is heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking, which we are about to show you. This is a video of a young lady whose father was robbed in DC. And in the process of being robbed, they killed him. These juveniles killed him. And she is talking to the news. She is devastated by this. And I want to show you this because it goes in direct opposition of what the left is telling us. The left is telling us that the police are the biggest issues for Black people, that white people and white supremacy is the biggest issue for Black people, that the President Trump shouldn't go out against criminal illegals and criminals in general because that will hurt Black people. Well, this story tells a different tale. Take a look at this. This is clip 8. One moment. Actually, clip 7. Wow. Oh my gosh, folks. This is Christian conservatives. Please pray for her. Please pray for that girl, that God sends his Holy Spirit to be a comfort to her as she grieves. Please pray for her. Oh my gosh. But this is what I'm talking about. The left continues to push this idea that we are being hunted by the police when it is not the case. It is people within our own community that are causing havoc and wreaking havoc within these areas. It's not true what they are saying. This is heartbreaking that she had to go through this. But this is not unique. It's not a unique story. This is something that happens every day in Baltimore, in DC, in Philly, in Chicago. It's something that happens all the time. But they don't get the parade, the marches and the protests and the MSNBC pundits. Nobody's talking about her. It's only if the aggressor is a white person or a white cop. Michelle, what are your thoughts on how this is what I just want to tie it back into what we're talking about here.
What upsets me, this has been happening for years and we've been calling it out, and the far left, they don't care about these stories. So I'm surprised she got airtime, which she deserved, because she's an actual victim. This is tragic. And I mean, God will grant her peace and be with her, because this is for years to come. And for the families that raised these young men who thought it was okay to take life so callously, those boys stole a car, first crime. This is probably not their first rodeo. They probably have a criminal rap sheet, all of them. Robbed 3 people first, then proceeded to hit him with a car, rob him, and leave him. It is so callous, but the left will actually say this is because those young men were victims of systemic racism. They were victims of their environment because they were poor kids in DC. No, they were vile human beings who had no decency and no reverence for life. They are products of what their parents either raised or didn't raise them to be, because we have degenerates raising degenerates, and I'm calling it what it is, and I don't care where they live or what color they are. And the left has got a lot of nerve to ignore this problem that we have seen for decades. And let me tie back to what we have with illegal aliens and the illegal surge of migrants. Now we have to pour our resources. Not only are they taking what will end up being billions of dollars, it will end up being billions when we come down to it. Millions of people will equal billions of dollars because they've used from the housing to Medicaid to Medicare. They have constantly taken and drawn on our economy and our resources. And those resources should have gone to those communities, should have gone to the police forces to clean it up, should have gone to real enforcement and real judges, not left-wing lunatic judges, but that will have consequences for the young Black or Hispanic or white, young poor kids that are acting a fool in the streets and think they can get away with it because what was the magic number? He was 17. He's a juvenile. Lock him up for life. For life. This is
Absolutely.
not monopoly. He should not, pass go, collect $200. No, they should be charged, fully charged. And I'm just sick of it. So I'm sick of our resources going to where it should never have gone under the Biden administration. But this happened years before. This happened years and years before. And the Black Lives Matter movement was a huge part of the problem because they glorified and weaponized somebody who had no business, with George Floyd being a superstar, a hero, when he was a criminal.
Yeah.
It's just sick. And this poor girl is right. She lost her dad. For nothing. And nobody cares. And nobody's going to clean it up. And nobody's coming to her rescue or her aid. But Jesus, but God, he is. And we will pray as a community for her.
Yep. Yeah, I've been praying, folks. We're asking your prayers for this young lady. I mean, I could feel the hurt and just I could feel that she's lost. She's lost. So we have to pray for her strength, for people. Please. We have some super chats here. We have Kung Fu CJ says, once this gets out, Blacks will learn who didn't want them to be citizens. Democrats. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kung Fu CJ, for your $5 super chat. All right, Chadwick. Oh, Chadwick with the $5 super chat says, this caused a visceral reaction. I see stuff like this, and if I had saw this when I would be in jail, the two would have come out of me quick. Yeah, I agree there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chadwick. Chadwick is one of ours here in Metro Conservative Media. Thank you, Chadwick. Yeah, we got to continue to pray, but folks, just wanted to give you, there are real world issues, real life people that are affected by these decisions, and elections matter. And I really hope that people in these urban areas wake up. But getting on track to President Trump's wins, another win for him this week was a massive victory for parents across America. In the Mahmoud v. Taylor court case, the Supreme Court ruled that parents have the right to shield their children from radical LGBTQ indoctrination in public schools. Huge win. So basically, this centered around Montgomery County Public Schools here in Maryland, tried to force LGBTQ plus storybooks on kids as young as 4 with no opt-out, no religious respect, but just pure agenda. So, and it wasn't just Christians that were pushing back. It was a united front of Muslims, Catholic, and Orthodox Christian parents, and they won. This case, again, Mahmoud v. Taylor, is a landmark moment for parental rights, freedom of religion, and the defense of children's innocence. Michelle, what's your reaction to this case?
Well, you all know me, and I was following this. Not only following this, I was a speaker for Moms for Liberty here. I mean, I would show up at these marches. I know some of the protests, you name it. This is what you stand up and protest. This is what you stand up and say, not my child, not my family, not my community. And one of the plaintiffs, actual plaintiffs, she's a mom of 7. And the youngest child is a child with Down syndrome. She was one of the plaintiffs that said, you were exposing my child who already has issues, developmentally cannot handle this content. And when they told her, no, we're not going to notify you, she really stood up in this and said, that's outrageous. So they're pushing this not on. And she said in our interview this weekend, it's not just about her child with disabilities, all children. But they did not care. The enemy doesn't care. The left doesn't care. Groomers don't care. They don't care the age. I have been following this case from day one, and now it's done, and it's going to go back. And I couldn't be happier. I was in my car when I heard it, and I was literally shouting. People could be watching me. I was shouting. I was screaming. I was so excited. And again, read the dissents. The dissent. It's so sick that we have Supreme Court justices who actually believe the parents should not have the right to decide with gender studies for pre-K students, because they think the teacher should be in charge, and all children should learn about these diverse subjects. There goes diversity again. What? Kids don't need to learn about sex.
Right.
Period. They're 4. They don't even know how to spell their colors.
Right.
They don't know how to spell. They don't know how to read. They don't even know how to read. So the fact that you're reading this to them, that type of indoctrination, that type of just sick and disgusting nonsense, opt out. And I hope every parent, the day they try to push these books, opts out and has a huge walkout. Parents,
absolutely.
And leave. Just leave. Just leave. Walk out.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it unified a lot of unlikely people, unlikely religions. Again, Muslims, Christians, and Jews banded together against a secular leftist overreach. And it shattered a lot of false narratives that the left tries to push, that opposing LGBTQ indoctrination is a white Christian issue. No, this is about truth, freedom, and family. And folks, if you agree with this decision, please hit that like button as you all come in. We have so many people watching, almost 50 people watching. We want to get those likes up. It really helps to get this video out in front of more people. And that is what we are, that's our aim. So, again, this is what happens when parents don't back down. When we unite on principle, not party, and stand for our children, we win. And let this be a warning shot to every radical school board in America. Parents are awake and we will not be silenced. Just as you mentioned, Michelle, with Moms for Liberty, people like you, parents, we will not be silenced. So folks, as you all come in, share this video, continue with your comments, post your thoughts, and make sure you're subscribed. This fight is far from over. They're trying to do a class action suit, I believe, of some sorts. So this is just the beginning. But today, at least, we celebrate this win for faith, freedom, and family. But we gotta stay united. We gotta keep pushing.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this one. You know what? When we get rid of this national school issue and get national school choice, that's the rude awakening. That's when they lose their momentum. And shame on Justice Sotomayor. Shame on her.
Definitely.
All of them that dissented. Shame on you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, you guys know we spoke about the Iran ceasefire that President Trump negotiated. He also negotiated a Rwanda Congo peace deal. This was historic. And what I'll say is God ordained. So this is the first major peace breakthrough in one of the most war-torn regions of Africa in over a decade. So the deal, quietly brokered through U.S. diplomacy, shows that American leadership under President Trump brings reconciliation, even globally. What are your thoughts on this, Michelle?
It's not just President Trump. He knew, he was smart this time, the backing of his cabinet positions, the people he put in charge behind him is phenomenal. I don't know in my lifetime that I will ever see anything like this again. They have his back. Not only that, they're forward thinking. They are all fearless, the men and women. They're going in. Look at how rapidly they're solving this. This is not taking 2 years or 3 years. He came out with a plan and he said, you. I'm putting you in this place. We're going to do this day one. He did keep his promise. He started these day one, and now we're seeing it come to fruition. So he knew what he wanted, but God bless everybody backing up the president. God bless everybody who was involved in it. And they don't want to talk about Africa. Isn't that funny? They want to talk about Black and brown people here in the United States, but they don't want to talk about what's happening in Africa and the peace that's been brokered right now, where people kill each other with machetes. I mean, this is where they take children and they made them into soldiers. The stories that have come out from this conflict will give you nightmares. And President Trump just said, enough is enough. And really, he deserves at this point a Nobel Peace Prize. I won't be surprised if he gets nominated for it because of what he's doing across the globe. It is phenomenal. It is a juggernaut of just a foreign policy making for the betterment of everyone in this world, and especially for everyone in the United States.
Absolutely. And this is what we say. If he was a racist, he wouldn't care about these people. They don't look like him, but he does. And folks, this is a win for Christian missions, humanitarian efforts, and stability in a region desperate for healing. I mean, President Trump has just been winning all over the place. And it's not just his wins, as we said in the top of the show. These are wins for America. Speaking of that, we're talking about gas prices. Also another one. Gas prices are at a 4-year low under President Trump's leadership. Energy independence and common sense policies are paying off. So it all just adds up, and it's a win for America. Simple as that.
I mean, he's always been a tremendous businessman, but now I think the world knows, get out of his way. And the amount of respect that they're showing him internationally this time around, it's like, again, like nothing I have ever seen. He comes in with strength, and there's just no weakness. And he's smart. This is intelligent. This every action that he's taking, he's already prepared for the reactions. And right now we're going to reap benefits for years to come. We're going to reap benefits.
And the crazy thing is, you know, the left doesn't see this. They don't see these as wins for America. No. They only see partisan, and they have meltdowns over it. Take a look at this. This is hilarious. This is a Democratic strategist is having a full-blown meltdown over President Trump's historic wins this week. You can't make this stuff up.
Egg prices are down and gas prices are at a 4-year low. So I think something's working. And 100%, this was part of the landmark domestic policies that President Trump wanted. He wanted to make sure that the permanent tax cuts to strengthen Medicaid and reform it so that it actually helps those it was designed to help in the first place. And, you know, frankly, President Trump's having a great week, and I think we're going to continue to do that when the Senate and the House pass this on July 4th, send it to his desk, and we'll have a big, beautiful law.
When I bought eggs a couple of weeks ago, they were still $5. Maybe that's down from $7 or $8, but just a few years ago, I was only paying $2 or $3. And if people are losing their jobs, if grocery prices have gone down just a hair, they're still not back to what they were prior to President Trump being in office, and that's exactly what he campaigned on. And the more that Trump wins in office, the more the American people at large lose, and that's just the truth.
He's been in office for 5 months.
But he said he would do things on day one, and he actually knows. He actually knows where the restroom is because he's been there before, and nothing he did first term and nothing he did second term is considerate of the American people at large that don't look like him and his MAGA cult followers.
We'll turn really quickly to there's an investigation.
Oh my gosh, you old dumb egghead. So she literally just said that the egg prices are down, but but America doesn't win from any of President Trump's wins. I mean, what is she talking about? Not only are egg prices down, inflation is down, the Dow Jones is up. The wins, these are all wins for Americans' pocketbooks. What is this egg-headed woman talking about?
Okay, well, she's a clown, and the fact that she said that she, of course, had to throw race in there backhandedly. He's only doing stuff for, not for people that don't look like him and don't look like the MAGA. Or no, well, I guess I'm considered MAGA, and I don't look like President Trump. And I'm okay with that. He has helped us. He's helped us tremendously. And like I said, day one negotiations took effect, and they've been taking effect, and he's been dropping them down. It's going to be record lows once again. And what's funny is that she said a couple years ago, you mean when Trump was in office? You mean egg prices when he was in office? Because of his policies, the egg prices were so good years ago, and Joe Biden messed them up so bad. And the math is not mathing. She says it's only a couple, just a little bit, from $7 to where she went into $5. She really needs to go back to, basic algebra, fractions. Maybe she can, divide and see what percentage that is. But when you're seeing 25%, 35%, 50% decreases, now, I don't know, a grocery store she goes to, maybe it's a high-end grocery store in Maryland. When I was paying $7 for a dozen, today it was $2.95.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They just want something to say negatively about President Trump. And guess what? They can continue, but people are feeling these differences in their pockets. And so prayerfully, they will continue and take these, remember these wins and take them to the ballot box in at the midterms and in another 4 years, because these conservative policies are working. And so no matter how much they, hate President Trump, no matter how much they don't like what he says or whatever, he is America first. And no matter your color, if you are an American, you're winning right now. Okay. Simple as that. But these people don't want to win. They only want to lose. And that takes us to former Democrat Congressman Jamaal Bowman. So these folks, they are not hiding it anymore. The Democrat Party has fully conceded to socialism. New York Democrat Rep Jamaal Bowman just said out loud what the far left has been pushing for years, that socialism has been weaponized as a bad thing. Now, think about that. A former sitting member of Congress wants you to believe socialism, the failed oppressive ideology responsible for suffering in Cuba, Venezuela, and beyond, is misunderstood. Take a look at him saying this. This is clip 5.
Brown people from different backgrounds, the word socialism is weaponized as some kind of, anti-American thing. And, Senator Gillibrand and others seem to have fallen victim to that level of ignorance and miseducation.
Okay, Michelle, what is he talking about?
Socialism is anti-American. Socialism is anti-capitalism. And we live in a nation that only thrives because we have capitalism, because we have the ability to create wealth. We have the ability to do something that other nations don't necessarily have, especially communist and socialist countries. He has got to be one of the most uneducated, ignorant, on purpose, liars. Again, another fire drill, another let's go. He makes me so angry. And who is giving him a platform? Shut him up. Can we just stop it? Every time he comes on, he acts a fool. He says something that just shows his ignorance and shows why Joe Biden was able to get so many horrible policies on the book, because we had people like him voting. He should never have had the power and authority to vote on some of these bills that affect Americans. What nonsense. Guys, again, I nominate him to go and live in a socialist country. I will buy his ticket. I will send him first class, but of course that might be too much for him, because he wants to show how much he cares about the people. So we'll sit him in the back of the plane, and I will happily get him there. You just name the country he wants to live in.
Absolutely. And fortunately, he was pushed out of Congress. He lost his election, but New York City just voted in a mayoral Democrat candidate, and he's gone full Marxist, communist, whatever you want to call it. Take a look at him in this morning's interview, where he's being asked about his socialist policies. This is clip 3.
Went on your website and realized there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on, saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes. And yet, by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now, what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website.
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right, you are a self.
That was terrible. What an answer. Well, at least he's not going to change it. That was pure racism. Okay, I don't care what you. It's not, the tax system is not racially. It's not made in a racial way. And for him to characterize it in that way, that should scare every white person in New York City, folks. This is the one who won the Democratic primary recently, Zohran Mamdani. He is the one who won. The socialist Islamist won the Democrat primary recently in New York City, and he's slated to win the general election. What are your thoughts on that exchange, Michelle?
He needs to go. I think the people need to speak on this. Full-blown communist. He is a full-blown communist. He's not even just a communist. Oh, there we go. Kung Fu CJ with the super chat agreeing. You come on in. Full blown. And I would go, he's more extreme than just a communist, because I've heard some of his comments. He would be the would-be dictator. But to call out a neighborhood that happens to be white and let's just tax them more because they utilized the American system, because who knows what their jobs are. In order to be in a wealthy neighborhood in New York, you have got to have a job like nobody's ever seen you. We're talking about doctors and lawyers and Wall Street businessmen. Again, he's anti-capitalist, so he doesn't want anybody to succeed. And I think poor people should be afraid of this. He doesn't want equality. He wants control. He wants to bring down people that have wealth, trickle it down, but he doesn't say anything about wanting poor people to be wealthy. Right. He'll never say that. And the left will never say that. And communists will never say that. And Marxists will never say that. They don't want equality. They don't want an equal playing field. And let me tell this clown what an equal playing field is. When you see a baseball field, when you see a football field, that's equal. When you see the teams that are made up of the best players from the best colleges and the best high schools, they are equal. But somebody's going to win and somebody is going to lose. So this whole ideology of it's got to be fair, it's got to be fair. No, they played a fair game. They're fighting fair. They're playing. They're equally matched against each other. But there's going to be teams that win and lose. And the tax system, you want to fix it, fix the tax system then. Because when everybody is playing by the rules and some people have better neighborhoods, live in better neighborhoods, and the Democrats have been running these cities for decades. So please tell me who failed the poor people. It was not the wealthy people in their communities. It was Democrat leadership that failed. And he's not only going to fail, he is going to light it on fire and pour gasoline on it.
And let's talk about what he said. So he is framing economic class on racial terms. But we know that your economic class can change throughout your lifetime. Yeah. So, you may start out, at a lower economic class, or middle class or poor or whatever, but you may go up and down, whatever, throughout your lifetime. So he's saying it now as he's saying it's white neighborhoods, but when Black people move into those so-called white neighborhoods, it'll be them too. So he's racializing it because he knows that that's the way to get a lot of people to vote for him, especially Black and brown people. But the color will not matter if you're Black and you're able to get to that economic status. He's taking your money too. Okay. He's going to take your money too. And so this is why this is a major problem, because he hates success. These Marxists, these socialists, particularly him, they hate winners. They hate success, no matter your color. He's only racializing it right now because he's trying to play on that emotional tie, because, Black people are, as of right now, I guess, in that area, in that lower economic social class. But this is a real issue, folks. This is a big issue. And I believe Kung Fu CJ, or maybe it was JT, somebody said that he doesn't want to take his money. You know, he's going to continue. He comes from money. He has money, and he's not saying anything about that, but he's talking about everyone else's money. This is here. Listen what he says about billionaires in this next clip.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
All right. There you have it. Michelle, what's your response to what he just said there?
It goes right back to what I said. He doesn't want equality. He's anti-American. He's anti-capitalist. He's beyond communist. This is a man who won't recognize Israel as a nation state. I mean, this is a man who has an agenda that goes far beyond the destruction of our nation. And mark my words, quote me on it, I believe he is set on the destruction of the United States and what we have right now. And he and the AOCs of the world, they are literally a plague. They are a plague on our nation. They, like locusts, they're coming out. They are destructive. They want to destroy. They want to leave nothing behind. But they don't want to, like you said, KJ, they don't want to talk about their background. They don't want to talk about what money they have, and they don't want you to touch it. They don't want you to touch it. This is just a talking point. This is a gimmick. This is, you guys are being played. This is a game until he wins. And if he wins, let the Marxism begin. And to all billionaires and all of these wealthy donors and all of you people with money that are donating to this campaign, I mean, you may as well just burn your money, for one. But he's coming for your money. He's smiling while he takes your donations, and he's going to destroy you and your wealth. If I were a business, I would pack up and move. And if I had a lot of business friends, I would say, let's wrap this up because we still live in a free nation. It's time to go to Texas. It's time to go to Tennessee. It's time to go to South Dakota. It's time to pack up your business, pack up your wealth. Let's see what happens to New York and all of these cities when the rich people leave, because they're the ones that actually keep people making money. They actually give more taxes, pay more taxes than anyone else in the nation. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about how much a business owner actually pays because they just want more.
And Kung Fu CJ with the super chat says he is the epitome of Karl Marx. He is. And he's a theater guy. He's a liar. He's a theater guy. You know, this guy here, he is demonizing billionaires. And folks, he's only using the word billionaires because that feels so far away from many of us. But right now it's billionaires. Tomorrow it'll be millionaires. Next month it'll be people over $500,000. I mean, they're going to continue to go down that ladder until they take all of our money. Okay. And here he is talking about, in this next clip, talking about how eating rice with your hands, it signifies the third world. And he has so much respect for the third world. This guy is just, he's putting on. Okay. He is. This is clip 8.
So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics, you have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Tell me, why is Palestine a part of your politics?
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
Okay. And so he's eating with his hands to show that he's just, he's with the third world, because a lot of third world countries, they eat with their hands, or if you have some type of provision, you're scooping up the rice and the beans and you're eating with that. And he's trying to just show some type of allegiance with that. It's all a farce. This guy, he is the son of, I believe it was, where do I have? Oh, here. He's the son of his mother is a world famous Academy Award nominated Bollywood director worth tens of millions of dollars. His father is a chaired professor at Columbia. Okay. So this guy, he's probably got china and all types of silver in his house. You know, but for us, he's eating like some monkey in the jungle with his hands. Okay, come on.
This guy is, yeah, again, we're all being played. And then listen to how well spoken he is and his nice, first off, in his nice, crisp white shirt that somebody ironed. Because I'm going to tell you what, when I'm eating like that, I'm going to have a napkin. I don't care if somebody's going to film me because I'm going to make a mess. I'm a messy eater, by the way. I can't keep stuff clean, but he's for show. And we fell for this with Obama.
Right.
We fell for this with other politicians. So well spoken, they sound so again, and they were just, regular, down with the people. And no, I will never. This guy doesn't even wear a mask. He doesn't even hide who he is or what he is. And we need to start looking at him for what he is in the demonic realm. We need to start paying attention as Christians for who they are when Satan is speaking through them, when the demonic is speaking through them and using them to what ends and to what means. We have to be mindful of this. And I just picture him, not just him, but other people when they speak these words, and it's enticing. It's like witchcraft, and people just fall into that, and they're looking and listening and they're believing it until it is too late. And I think the party is waking up, and the Democrats have done this to themselves. Oh, yeah. I don't think he's going to win this election. I really don't. But I think the Democrats have dug this so deep by creating this. They needed socialists, they needed Marxists to create the distractions, to create the discord so they could win seats and win elections. Well, they did that, and look what you got. You have extremists that even the Democrats can't wheel in, can't hold back, and the rest of the Democrats that used to have the upper hand, like the Pelosi's of the world, and here who I'm running against, Steny Hoyer, they're dying. They're in their 80s. They're gone. Yeah. Dead and gone. And the other ones that think they have a stronghold are losing their races to a younger generation. This is an extreme generation with no morality. They weren't raised in Christian homes. They've been taught by teachers. And where are the teachers, the real history teachers, by the way? Where are they? Where are the teachers saying, well, that's not historically accurate? Where are they right now? So you can see how far we've fallen. That man, what a clown, it's not just a clown. He is purposeful. He is intentional. He is deceiving. That is evil walking and getting away with it.
Oh yeah. And to me, it's like, I don't understand why these people come here. If you want to eat with your hands and walk barefoot through the streets, if you want to go through, outdoor markets and barter with people where the flies are all through the food, and people who making your food and stuff got their teeth missing and they're barefoot as well, pots next to where they poop and pee, go back there. We in America like to use silverware, at least for the most part, unless we eating tacos or something, hot dogs, stuff like that. But for the most part, keep that over there. Why are you trying to change here? In America, wealth isn't handed down by the state. It's earned through risk, innovation, hard work, and oftentimes failure. So saying we shouldn't have billionaires tells every American you're only allowed to succeed up to a point. And that's anti-freedom, not fairness. So I really hope people send this guy packing and he loses the election. Or we're in trouble, folks. We are in real trouble. Okay. Because this guy he's dangerous. He is dangerous. And this is not Christian. As you mentioned, Michelle, the Bible doesn't condemn wealth. It warns against idolizing. Okay. God blessed Abraham, David, and Solomon with riches because they were faithful stewards. What matters is how you earn it and how you use it, not how much you have. Again, the Bible talks about the love of money is the root of all evil, not money itself. So this guy's just twisting everything.
No. And you know what, KJ? So at the Faith and Freedom Conference where I was this weekend, we had a panel with pastors and different leadership, and it was fantastic. And the majority of them were Black pastors. And one of the gentlemen there said a good word, and he reminded us that all men, were created equal, but all men were not born equal. So being created by the Creator, having what we have and what God gave us and made us to be, does not mean we're all equal. We are not all the same. We are not born into the same circumstances. And praise God that he allows us to find him, to go through, to overcome, to achieve, and he elevates us to different places for his purpose on this earth. So there will be millionaires and billionaires, but God gives us the ability, the genius, the ideas to get to the levels he wants us to. That is not just, he's not just giving you equality the way that these Marxists are talking about. That's what makes me angry. We have the ability. And that's what makes me angry about the communities that complain, Black communities. We need this, we need that. You're not doing for. And I ask, what are you doing for yourself? Are you waiting for the government to come in and save the day? Because they never will. Ronald Reagan knew that. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. They will never get you past the point where you want to be. That's not the government's job, by the way. Most people don't know that. Nor is it the government's job to overtax you. We, the people, allowed them to get away with it. That's why you have to watch who you vote for. So this is nonsense. I appreciate the pastor reminding us of that. Yeah, we're not all going to be equal. It will never happen. Right. So then what are you going to do next? And people like this gentleman, they don't want equality. They never do. Obama doesn't want equality, or he would have let all of those immigrants, when they came to Martha's Vineyard, come stay in his big mansion. He doesn't want He has security. He made sure people weren't rolling up on him and his millions. They don't want it. They want to talk about it, but they never want that. And definitely not for you.
Right. I totally agree, Michelle. Folks, if you agree, hit that like button. Folks, as you come in, if you're watching, please hit that like button. This helps to get our video out into front of the masses. And that is what we want to do here on YouTube. Also, subscribe if you like what you're hearing. If you believe in the American dream and you believe that it means unlimited potential, please subscribe. That's what we believe here as well. Also, wealth isn't evil. It's neutral. What matters is what you do with it. So again, that's what we believe in. If you believe that as well, you found a home, please subscribe and share this broadcast. Share it on your timeline, send it in a DM, share it on your social media. It really helps to get us out in front of a larger audience, because if this guy wins, I mean, we're going to have fewer small businesses, less investment, as you mentioned, more dependency on government handouts. And this is not something the state is in charge of, folks. This is a big deal. And we're going to, in New York City, I mean, New York City has always, or for at least a long time, been a leftist place, but it's still been a beautiful place. It's still been somewhere you'd like to visit, for a good majority of the last several years. And this is not, it will not be the city that we remembered if this guy gets elected. Particularly because he wants to bring it back to being a sanctuary city. Take a look at what he says about illegals. This is clip 6.
Questions. Let's talk about immigration, deportation. Are you committed to keeping New York as a sanctuary city?
Absolutely, because ultimately we've seen that this is a policy that has kept New Yorkers safe for decades. It's a policy that had previously been defended by Democrats and Republicans alike until the fear-mongering of this current mayor. And it's a policy that we've seen ensures that New Yorkers can get out of the shadows and into the full life of the city that they belong to. And it's one that I will be proud to stand up for.
Well, the border czar, Tom Bowman, has said that he is planning to deploy ICE agents to New York, worksite enforcement to essentially increase and enhance the number of ICE agents here. If that happens on your watch, how do you plan to handle it?
We have to stand up and fight back, and we haven't seen that from our current mayor, who has instead been working with the Trump administration to assist in their goal of building the single largest deportation force in American history. I mean, we saw ICE agents arrest a migrant at Federal Plaza, and then we saw NYPD officers arresting a pastor who was peacefully observing that arrest. Those days are going to come to an end when I'm the mayor. The NYPD's job is to create public safety in the city, not to assist ICE agents in their mission to attack the very fabric of this city.
Wow, y'all can have him, man. What are your thoughts on that, Michelle? This guy is wicked.
Not a future mayoral candidate saying that he's going to openly defy the laws of the land, the laws of the federal government. I cannot believe what they say out loud with a straight face, and they don't realize he just said, I will violate the law. It's time for us to fight back and break all of the rules. That's why I say he's not for America. He's not pro-America. He's not pro-New York. He's not pro you as a citizen. He was one of the ones who will sit back and watch somebody on a subway burn alive and say we have to keep them and we have to fight for their rights as citizens and we have to stop the borders are. This is disgusting. Go ahead. Well, and one, Tom Holman was at my event. Go ahead and see what happens when you defy Tom and everybody else in charge right now. I'd love to see that run in.
I mean, this will be detrimental to New Yorkers. They will become the victims of his policies. A breaking report released recently by Channel 3 News in Connecticut said that more than half of the illegal aliens arrested by ICE agents recently in the sanctuary state of Connecticut were found to have pending criminal charges or convictions. So again, you know, these people are doing harm to these areas. And instead of trying to work with the federal government and work with ICE to remove them from the cities, these mayors are joining in on the criminality. It's ridiculous. And I don't understand how these people who live here don't see that this is harming them.
I think what we're seeing, and we have not seen enough clips of it yet on national news, is what's happening in Detroit. You see the people that are coming out in force from these communities, and it is fantastic. I mean, they are all but cursing the leadership out, up and down, and that's what's going to need to happen. There needs to be more town halls and more opportunities for real people and real people that are victims of crimes to speak out and say something and run these would-be politicians or current politicians who support criminals out of town. They support criminals while destroying small businesses and destroying and chasing away large businesses. Then what is left? What's going to be left? A food desert, crime-ridden, disgusting communities that don't have anywhere else to go. It's going to be up to the people who really deprogram, wake up and see that this is the kind of leadership's been in charge for a long time. But, this guy, you're right. Failed policies, you've seen nothing until somebody like that gets in charge. And then he's going to want people to respect his policies when he's defying the law.
Yeah. And folks, we got to take it back to faith and Christianity. This type of talk, this socialism, this Marxism, it replaces God with government, demanding loyalty to the state, not the savior. It destroys the nuclear family. They don't like the nuclear family. They don't want it. It punishes productivity out of his own mouth, and it redefines morality. This guy was just in New York City today. They had him on video at the Pride Parade, jumping up and down next to naked people. You know, this is ridiculous. And the Bible teaches private property, stewardship, and charity, not forced redistribution and envy. And this is what he wants. He wants forced redistribution. So what does he mean that there should not be billionaires? What does that mean? What is he going to do? How is he going to start taking their money? Is he going to start taxing them until they are removed from the billionaire status? And again, this is the billionaires they're talking about today. Millionaires next, over 500,000 next. Then he's coming for the rest of us. So you can't. I mean, it doesn't make sense to penalize people who are successful, because guess what? Many of us may not be there today, but we may be successful the next month or next year. We're all striving towards that generally, right? I mean, so he's coming for us. We want our children to be millionaires. Most of us, we want our children to be successful. He's coming for our children's money. He's coming for their wealth, their our legacies. This is what he's talking about. I don't know how anyone can support this man. Damn him.
I don't know. Has he talked to his mom? Like, is he having conversations with his wealthy buddies? Is he having conversations with the wealthy donors that he's begging for, the billionaires that he needs? And I mean, we write songs about, like, I want to be a billionaire, you know, so free and glad. We talk about that. And the only people that suffer, and I need the poor and all of these activists who are ignorant of facts to know the only people who suffer when you remove or take more money from the billionaires are the poor and the middle class. The billionaires run the nation in the amount of money and the amount of actual resources and business that they provide to the nation. They do. That is it's unmistakable, it's undeniable, and they have enough wealth to pack up and move whenever they want. So they're not going to hurt. Tax them, overtax them, they will take their money and they'll go to another country. And they have enough wealth to go country hopping for the rest of their lives and the lives of their children and children's children, which, by the way, God told us to do, to create that inheritance. We are supposed to do that. And we are supposed to be that blessing. And we are supposed to pass that down to our children and to next generations. We forgot that. We forgot that. So what he's saying will destroy this nation. What socialists want, like Bernie Sanders and wealthy AOC, the uptown girl who pretends she's from the hood. I mean, they want to destroy the country so they can rebuild it in the image that they want. But God created and allowed America to be created the way that it is. And as long as we are here, like Christian Conservative and everybody in the chat are here to fight for it, that's what we're going to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we choose responsibility, not handouts. And guess what? I'm just going to speak for myself. I come from very humble beginnings, raised by a single mom. I'm the oldest of 4. You know, my mother worked multiple jobs. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I understand it's not like none of us are on here, and I think I can speak for Michelle, are rich by any means of the word. we just working, you know, we want to make a good life for our families. You know, we want to be good stewards of the Bible. You know, we want to walk in God's purpose for our lives. And, you know, and we want to do this to spread God's truth, you know, so it's not like we're like millionaires and we're trying to, you know, keep our money or whatever. It's we see where this is going, you know, and these leftists, these Democrats, NAACP, they always talk about Donald Trump wants to make us slaves. That guy, madman, as Ali said, madman Mamdani, if he gets his way, we all will be slaves. It's going to look like 28 days later, okay? After he's in office. Remember that movie they just put out a sequel? Woo, 28 months later now. That's what it's going to look like. NYC is going to look like, and then it's going to spread, okay? So, I pray NYC gets it right. Yeah, what'd you say, Michelle?
I said, you are not wrong. I'm dying that you said 28 days.
Yeah, it's going to be 28 days later. This is what it's going to be, okay? And we're going to be like, oh my gosh, this guy, I mean, and they're going to be stuck with him. So folks, if you know any New Yorkers, please share this with them. Share it in a DM. We see what's coming and we are sending out a warning. All right. And we will never bow to socialism. We will never bow to communism, to Marxism. We will not. So drop a comment, share this truth, and make sure you're subscribed. Because folks, together, we're not backing down. We are not.
Nope. You know, one of the other pastors is there, and he is from Great Britain, and he was traveling at this conference. But what he said was so right on the target for right now. He has seen what's happened in Europe when Islamic politicians come in and they start winning seats. And they start picking off the seats one by one to where they carry a third of the majority. And he has been to communist nations and socialist nations. And what he said is what America is unique is that you have a First Amendment right. We can have Christian conservative, no matter who's trying to shut it down or make sure we don't get as many views. We still have the ability to create it. We have the ability to create wealth. And he said, you have the ability to speak on it when they're doing wrong. And he said, but you need to use your Second Amendment right to protect your First Amendment right. That is unique to Americans. And he's right. Look at all the nations that came in, took away people's guns so that they could take away their right to talk back. And so he was plain as day. And I've never heard a Catholic priest say, you have to protect your First Amendment with your Second Amendment. He said the Western nations are depending on the United States. We are the last beacon of hope.
Wow. Yeah.
Incredible. And he's right. And seeing this guy from New York proves his point. It's little. The AOCs of the world, the squad members, they are chipping away intentionally until they can get to our Second Amendment and First Amendment rights and full-blown Marxism and socialism.
Yeah. Well, folks, that does it for us tonight. We will be back on Thursday. I always get it wrong. Thursday, we will be back here at Christian Conservative. So we'll be back on Thursday at 9 p.m. So please hit that notification bell so you know when we go live again. This is your trusted source for bold, unfiltered news and analysis on the issues that matter most to Christian conservatives. Yes, thank you. I want to shout out all of our moderators tonight. Allie, who else do we have? S-Files. Thank you so much. Angie, thank you. You guys keep the chat going and keep everybody fiery and uplifted and energized. So we really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Also, tomorrow night on Pop and Politics, on our Monday night show, Pop and Politics here on YouTube at 9 p.m., we were having a special guest on. I believe it's Nick Softy, and he is a specialist in the birthright citizenship. So we're going to do a deep dive in that because it's actually controversial. Some people don't believe that President Trump's executive order is constitutional. They believe that you should have birthright citizenship if you were born here. No matter if it's by an illegal or someone that is not an illegal. And so we're going to do a deep dive into it. It should be a very interesting conversation. He's from Maryland. Michelle, do you know him?
No, but that is one to listen to if you guys have the chance, because it's great to hear the scholars debate this and the attorneys, especially the constitutional attorneys. Oh my gosh, to sit in a room with them going back and forth. This is critical for our nation. This is important right here, right now, especially because of what the last administration did. They changed the entire makeup of the United States. And why? Because, and we know why. It's going to change the census. Right. And Donald Trump he's cleaning up the mess that was made, and he's setting the record straight. He's saying what citizens were always intended to be and what they weren't intended to be. So I'm going to catch you guys.
Yes, thank you. Yes, definitely check us out tomorrow on Pop and Politics at 9 p.m. Should be a great show. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about the latest with Candace Owens. Wow, she is really digging in. Lots of commentary. Did you see the video of her mocking the Holy Spirit? Wow. Did you see that, Michelle?
It's hard. It's hard to watch. And I don't know what's happening with her. I don't know why she's taking this turn. It's seeing somebody that I looked up to fall for me.
Right.
Like falling, because the comments that she's made recently, in my head, I want to chalk it up to, is this a postpartum thing? I don't know why she's doing this, but I think she's going to be finding herself on the wrong side of history quickly. And it's sad because of how smart and intelligent she is. God will never be mocked. You can do what you want for now, but in the end, you will answer for that. And yeah, it's disheartening for me. It was disheartening.
Yeah, same here. I mean, politics aside, politics and all her fights with Daily Wire and Ted Cruz and all of it aside, God will not be mocked. God will not be mocked. And when you go down that road of, you're so big and mighty, you're so, big and tall, and you're just right about everything, that you are mocking the Holy Spirit, that's an issue. Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, that's one that we'll have to put on, but those are those things that really, you want to see me upset, keep mocking God. Keep doing what you're doing. We're coming to that point, and you're right, KJ. It's beautiful to have platforms, but sometimes even the righteous, even the ones that God has elevated, they go too far. And
yeah. The Bible is crystal clear. In Matthew 12, Jesus said, "Every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven." So folks, that's not just a warning. That's a line in the sand. When the left, when the right, anybody, Candace, anybody, when they mocked the move of God, there are repercussions. Now, and I always say this, in my personal life, I talk about how, when we go to God and we ask for forgiveness, we ask for the forgiveness from him. We repent. We say, we talk about what we've done, and we ask for forgiveness. He forgives, but there are consequences. There are consequences to our sin. And I don't know what is going on with this girl, but something has gone awry. We have a super chatter here. Chris Jones with the $10 super chat. Chris Jones says, "Two beautiful, intelligent women. Love the show and hearing from you and your insight." Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, I know we got to go, but yeah, over the weekend I was with my brother, and he'll be 30 this year, so he's a young guy, and he's not conservative at all. But again, I come from a Christian family, and he came up to me, and he was like, "I've been waiting to talk to you all day." He was like, "I knew I could only ask you this. What do you think of what Candace Owens said about the Holy Spirit?" I was like, "Yeah, that was too far for me." He was like, "I'm not a Candace fan," but he was like, I thought about you as soon as she said it. I was like, "Wait a minute." He was like, "That's not political. That's spiritual. What is this girl doing?" So I was shocked for him because he's not political really, and he's definitely not conservative. But he was like, when I saw that, he was like, "That was just a bridge too far."
I don't know what's going on with her, but that was definitely for me too far. I was like, okay, so now the things that she said that really I consider anti-Semitic, and then now she's coming against the Holy Spirit and Christians, and I don't know. I don't know what's happening with her, but Lord's going to have to come in and help her, because that pride she has right now is going to come before her fall. And it's sad because she was helping or encouraging conservatives, but maybe that was just her time to do it. So I hope she gets right and repents of that nonsense, because again, God will not be mocked. And Kung Fu CJ, he gave a super chat. I don't know if we read it, but Jesus told his disciples to sell their coats to buy a dagger.
Oh, wait, did we see that? I didn't see it. 1 second. Oh, here it is. Yes. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, thank you, Kung Fu CJ. Yes, he did. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's right. So, and I thought I saw one from JT. I think he said, he thought I was 23. Thanks, JT. I wish. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. All right.
in that chat. You guys were on fire today on so many different subjects, and I'm going to pick one up to say, if you didn't, this was at the beginning, but KJ got an award. It was well deserved, and the chat was talking about it because they saw your pictures. So KJ, you got to tell them what award you received.
Oh yeah, thank you, Michelle. Yes, I did. I won Republican of the Year for Baltimore City. And they were acknowledging conservatives in the media. So it was also Armstrong Williams. If you guys know him, he is the part owner of the Baltimore Sun. He was there, and lots of people were there. It was so humbling, so honored for that award. Thank you guys so much for calling it out. And Giovanni, was it Reason? No, Logic. Logic. He called it out, and he is also co-founder of Metro Conservative Media. So everybody was there. Shelly, Yana, Gimpy, yeah, everybody was there, and it was a great event. And I'm still on a high from the event. So,
hey, well, we give honor where honor is due, and it's great. And again, it just comes down to Christian conservative. We've got fantastic people here, fantastic guests, and it's really about hard work. And they recognize you for the hard work that you've done, KJ. So well-deserved award and making a difference here. And it's hard to be in deep blue territory. I did a speech this weekend, and I said, Maryland's so deep blue, it's black. You can't even see the waters. So it's tough, but you keep the fight. We keep the faith.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Yep. Yes, indeed. And talk about the Faith and Freedom conference that you went to, because that ended, was it today or yesterday?
It ended Saturday. If you ever have an opportunity to go, everybody, I suggest you go. Faith and Freedom. A lot of great guests. Usually President Trump was there, but he's busy working with the beautiful bill. Tom Homan was there. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was there. We had some of the survivors, the hostages that just from Hamas captivity speaking. Amazing to see them and hear them and their story and their testimony. And it just brought to home why Christian conservative is important and why standing tall and standing strong for our faith and our values is critical. And so it's great to be around like-minded people for that reason. And again, there's other conferences like that, but it's tremendous. It's important. I like the work that they've done for, I think, 15 years now. And I just love that they bring out pastors. And I was praising and worshiping in a ball gown, y'all. They bring out praise and worship. And I did not sit down. I said they were playing my song. And if I was the only one, which, by the way, I was like, there's a couple hundred people there, and I sure stood up and was jumping up and down, singing and praising. And I say that because you should never, ever be afraid to worship. You should never find yourself in a place where you can't praise God and you can't speak on truth and you can't say who you are and shout it from the rooftops in your faith and keep your freedom. And that's what it was all about. So it was wonderful.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that because, and you guys know, for many, many years, I was a Democrat. And when I went to my first Trump rally, that was something that I always stuck with me. It was something I had never seen before because, in prior years, I had worked on different Democrat campaigns and gone to Democrat functions, but I had never seen people just worship God at a political event like I did at a Trump rally. When I went to that first Trump rally, people were holding hands, they were praying, they were talking about Jesus and God. And, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. This is really nice to see this. And it's not something you generally see on the left. And so that's something that always sticks out in my mind, just seeing that. And, the Trump rallies get such a bad rap. And people, say that they're so hateful, and it's so far from the truth. I mean, it's a really good time, and it is diverse. I mean, there's different people, different ethnicities, even different religions, and everyone is just so excited and so happy to be there and so proud of America. And I just can't say that enough. So yeah. And so from you saying that from this conference, that's just the difference of things on the right and things on the left, events on the left and events on the right. At the right events, on the conservative events, you can worship, and you don't have to feel like it's weird or it's not something you should do at a political event. So yeah.
It was great.
All right. Well, that does it for us tonight, folks. Again, we got Poppin' Politics on Monday, and then Tuesday, please check out the All American Talk Show. You can find them at All American Talk. They're going to have a great show breaking down the latest news of the day. And then if you go back on Saturday, catch Just the Guys podcast. They had a great show on Saturday. Very informative. And again, they provide conservative content from a male perspective. And then, like I said, we will be back here, Christian Conservative, on Thursday. So please hit that like button and subscribe to us if you are not already subscribed. Again, we are here for you, giving you and breaking down the issues from a Christian conservative perspective. Like, share, and subscribe. We will see you on Thursday. Before we tap out, I want to show again that video of that woman who lost her father in DC from juveniles who were trying to rob him, because I want to show it again because her story needs to get out there, and we want to push back against the narrative that we as Black Americans are hunted down in the streets by police and white supremacy is our major issue, when it is not. So please share this broadcast, share her story. We want it to get out there, and pray for her strength, pray for her, the Holy Spirit to be a comfort to her and her family and the loved ones that lost their father. Until next time, wishing you all warm days and starry nights.